So now in this video, let us see a Java example function through a demo program. So here the class name is function demo, and then I have a main function, that is public static void main here, from where the program will start. Now let us say that let me, in order to illustrate the concept of function, let me define two different variables. So let's say one is integer, int something like number 1 equals 5, and then int let's call it double number 2 or num2 equals 4.5. So for the sake of convenience, I am going to utilize the same situation. I am going to use the same illustrative scenario, that is Alice has two numbers and Alice will pass it to Bob for addition. I will represent the same thing in this demo program. So let us store this 5 and 4.5 in two different variables over here, and now let me call the function. Like, let's say this is Bob, please add this num1 and num2. Now you can pass the exact numbers also instead of using this num1 and num2 variable, so no problem with that. This is just for the illustration purpose, so you can do either way. So anyway, so now when you are calling this Bob please add then num1 and num2, that means you have to define it somewhere. You have to implement this function somewhere. So in order to do that, let us define, or let us implement the function somewhere. So here let me start implementing the function. Now, as I have mentioned in my previous video, in a non-object oriented way, you have to use a keyword called static in to implement a function. Now, static followed by the type of result that the function will return. That is, the result will the function will return is a double type, right? Because if you add an integer and a double, the result will also be type double. So that is the result of that function. Then the function name, you have to use the exact function name that you want to call. So here it should be Bob please add, and then inside this Bob please add, basically you have to represent those two numbers in the function. So the first number is int, let's call it int n1, and then the second number is double, that is, let's say, call it double n2. Now this is the way function represents it inside, represent those two numbers inside it. It's just like the fact, let's say you pass num1 and num2 or directly 5 and 4.5 to Bob, but in Bob's head it is represented as n1 and n2. So it really does not matter what variable name you are using here and what variable name you are using here. The only thing that matters is if the first number you are sending is integer, it should be an integer over here. If the second number is a double, so it should be a type double. So the type matters, but not the variable name. So we will clarify this concept again later in the course, but let us try to implement the function first. So I have written static, then the type of the result, then Bob please add, and then the two numbers, how it will be represented inside this function. So now whatever you will implement inside the function, that should be enclosed inside this opening and closing curly braces. Okay, so now let us implement the function. Now in this case I just want to add two numbers, so let me store this inside a variable of type double called result equals n1 plus n2. So in this line I am calculating the result and then storing it inside a variable. Now what do I need to do? After adding, remember Bob returned back the result to Alice. Okay, so here what you have to do is return the result. So you have to do return result. That's it. Now here actually let us say here you want to print the, or you want to store the result in your variable. So let's say this is another result, or let's say int my result, or you can just for the sake of clarity my result from Bob equals this. So you stored the result that you got back from the function or got back from your friend. You store it in your own variable. And now let us just print this system.out.println and then the same variable name. So what I am expecting is the value of num1 is 5, the value of num2 is 4.5. Those two numbers are sent to this Bob please add function. Then those two numbers are basically added over here and it returned back the result. So and once the function return, it directly come to this line and then it should print 9.5, which is basically 5 plus 4.5, the result of 5 plus 4.5. So let us see whether the program gives me the 9.45 as an output or not. So let us run this program and let me see what is the output. So well, I got an error over here and so it is a lossy conversion. That's why the error is as you can see in here. So the lossy conversion means it is here actually, oh, so it happened in this line of code. As you can see that Java 10, line number 10, this convert, this error occurred, this lossy conversion. Why I got this error? Because the result returned from this function is of type double, but I am trying to store it inside an int. So everything whatever will appear in after the decimal point will be lost. So Java compiler threw me this error. So let us change the type to double over here so that there is no loss anymore. Now let us run this program and let us see what happened. And as you can see, this line actually printed the result that you got back from the function, and which is 9.5. So that's the demo of a simple function in Java. And now the best part of the function, let me explain it right now. Now let us say you need to add, you need to add let's say 1,000 times in your program. You really do not need to do the addition anymore, but those 1,000 times you can just call the function. Let us say you want to call this with another number. So let's say this time I want to call it, let's say double another result from Bob. So I'm just showing you how to call the function many times. Once it is implemented, you can call the function many times from anywhere of your code. So let me show you that. So double another result from Bob, and let me just call these things. This Bob please add, and instead of num1 and num2, let me give some different number, 100 and let's say 300.657, something like this. And now let me just print this number like system dot out dot println, and then this another result from Bob. And just for the sake of clarity, let me add a space after this and also another space here, so that both the results can be distinguished properly. So now let us see whether it prints. First it should print 9.5 in here, and then it should print 100, the result for 100 plus 300.657, that is 400.657. so let us see whether I can get back both the result as an output or not. So let me run this program, and well, I got an error which is happening because I forgot this semicolon in the end of the line in here. So let me just put the semicolon over here, and also I forgot the semicolon here. So after correcting these two errors, let me run the program once again, and let us see whether I get back both the numbers like 9.5 and 400.657 or not. And as you can see in here, after running the program, for the first one I got 9.5 like this, and then for the second call of the function I got 400.657 over here. Now you can call this Bob please add function as many times as you want. It may be 1 times, 2 times, 10 times, 100 times, 1000 times, like this. And there comes the concept of like how you can save several lines of code. Now uh, for the sake of simplicity, I have used a very simple function over here, which is just adding two numbers. Now let us say you have a very complicated operation which is not just addition, but there are several things, like let's say there should be like 100 of different comparison. Then based on that comparison you have to decide whether some numbers will be added or some numbers will be subtracted or multiplied. So there can be any complex logic inside your function, and your function can be a very big function and performing any type of complex operation over here. Although I have just used a very simple addition for as a representative function, but it can grow to any level of complexity. So now whenever the function will be complex, let us say your function has 30 or 40 lines of codes inside your function. Now that function you have to call from many different places, like 50 times or 100 times from many different places of your program. Just like I have called Bob please add twice only. Let's say that complex function you need to call 30 or 40 times from your code. So at that time, as you can understand, you really do not need to re-implement the same function again and again and again, but you can implement just once, and then you can call it from many different places. And that's the real benefit of a function. And That's why function is a so important concept, and you must clarify the concept of function very clearly, and you should be able to write your own program with function calls.